The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
And I'm the other host, Warren.
It is episode 33, coming at you from a sweltering hot Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, it's a tropical paradise.
It's amazing. It's, what's like 77 degrees today. Some of you from other parts of the country or the world might not think that's that amazing, but for here, it's a heat wave. It's ridiculous.
We have the annual tradition here in this area where it usually rains all the way through the 4th of July, and then the 5th of July, it's sunny, and it's mostly sunny for 3 months.
Yes.
And then it becomes overcast for the next 9 months until the 5th of July the next year.
Our summers are actually quite nice, usually.
The summers are, once you get past the 4th of July, it's great. This year it actually came exactly a day early.
Exactly, yeah.
It was on July 4th was actually nice.
Usually it rains on July 4th.
Our June has been nothing but a monsoon. It's
and
like...
not just, and normally in Bellingham, when it rains, it's just kind of this little mist and drizzle, but we've had really
Usually
heavy, crazy rain.
Our June is just like, it's just overcast, basically. Yeah. So there's no sun, but it's not like raining. But it's been, just pouring. The streets have been like flowing with water everywhere. People have been very
it's been
annoyed.
Like in the 50s and 60s. And it's funny because every year people start bitching. Come June, when it hasn't stopped raining yet, everyone's like, God, this is the worst spring ever. And oh my God. And everyone seems to forget that it's always like that. And then the summer is always amazing. And by the time it gets to be 80 degrees in August, people start freaking out about how hot it is.
Yeah, and they can't believe it. And it's amazing. And then we go in through September. It's usually pretty nice.
Yeah, I was swimming. I think the last time I went swimming last year was like September 20 something.
It's sort of the summer. The actual summer is summer here, and the rest of it's just overcast.
So any of you planning to move to the Bellingham area, that's kind of like our climate. 9 months of rain and 3 months of beautiful weather.
I know if I was an affluent man and could afford multiple homes, I would definitely live here in this area 3 months a year. But there's no way you get me back for the other 9 months.
I'm fine with it. I like it. It's fine. I like the summer in the summer. That's good. But, I like nice overcast, a little drizzle every once in a while. It's nice. It makes everyone look nicer. It's kind of the difference if you ever work in an office with fluorescent lighting. Yeah. And everyone looks horrible. Yeah. And it's bright and your eyes start hurting. It's kind of like that when it's sunny all the time. It pisses me off. But when it's overcast, it's great.
I have to disagree. I find it depressing, and I think our suicide rates will attest to that.
We've got an excellent show. I'm going to have to complain a little bit.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That doesn't surprise me.
We also have some crazy street freak action, just another smorgasbord of freak. Basically, within a 20-minute period, I believe yesterday, I was just assaulted by freaks. So we'll get to that later in the show. We've got some Celebrity Minute for you. Anyway, so you'll have to pardon me as I go into another one of my sad stories, because this week I was in a lot of pain.
Physical and emotional, or just physical?
Mostly physical, but the physical was causing emotional pain at the same time. So if you'll indulge me here, I'm going to play some sad music.
Okay.
Just a moment. So, some of you may or may not remember, I was complaining of back pain previous weeks.
I remember.
Racked with horrible back pain. On Monday, it all came to a head. I'd tried to go to sleep on Monday night and was in such horrible pain that I couldn't get comfortable in bed. Mm-hmm. But I would drift off every once in a while and then suddenly be awoken by the sound of my own voice screaming in agony.
No.
Yes, I was
You'd
literally...
wake yourself up with your own voice screaming in agony?
I would wake myself up by yelling.
So you can yell when you're asleep?
Apparently. You've laughed in your sleep before, haven't you?
I don't know. Maybe. I was asleep, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. But it was kind of disturbing because normally when conscious, I'm very stoic and would not scream out in agony. Mm-hmm. And I have no idea how loudly I was screaming either. I would just startle and jerk awake and go, oh, and then try to go to sleep again. So I did not have a very restful night. On Tuesday, because it was raining so hard and because of my back pain, I did not go to work. But I decided to go downtown in spite of my pain to run some errands. I was in a very bad mood because of the back pain. You can't
Lack
get
of sleep
comfortable.
too, right?
Lack of sleep, frazzled nerves. And as I approached a crosswalk, waiting for the light to go to the little stick figure man showing that I can walk, as we discussed earlier, a man was waiting to turn left on his green light, and instead of waiting for me to go across the crosswalk, he just blew through. Just like he actually peeled out of the intersection. I had impaired mobility and was not able to get out of the way with the alarcity that I normally would be able to. And so he clipped me with his side mirror as he went by, right in the hip. And it hurt rather badly.
Yeah, I bet.
I was very angry about this. And as he, instead of apologizing as he went by, he went, "Watch where you're fucking going!" I had the right of way.
Yeah.
I was in a crosswalk. It said walk. So I hobbled after him to the next block. He stopped at a red light. I was just hobbling down the middle of the street.
Yeah, this is a good scene.
Got up to his driver's side window and pounded upon the glass. He looked, and I was like motioning for him to roll down his window so I could scream at him.
Yeah.
He did not.
Yeah, well,
he just said, "Get the fuck away."
Yeah.
And then I was so angry, and even though I was in pain, I took my right knee and drove it into his driver's side door and stove it in.
Oh, good.
Dented the shit out of it. He went, "Ah!" and ran the red light and sped away from me.
So you took your pound of flesh from him, at least.
I took probably about $500 or $600
There we
damage.
go.
He was driving a piece of shit anyway, though. He was a semi-homelessy looking guy, the kind of guy who would get free meals from the drop-in center down the block here.
Tweaker, maybe?
Maybe a tweaker, maybe
Yeah.
a meth addict, maybe something to that
Yeah.
effect. He probably had no insurance, probably didn't even have a valid driver's license.
You could have reported him.
Yeah, but I already took care of it with my street justice.
That's right. You prefer
which I'm
vigilante.
always very fond of.
Justice.
So then, basically, throughout most of the week, I've been in pain. I've been taking muscle relaxers, was taking crazy amounts of ibuprofen for a while, and then decided I should probably stop doing that and switch to naproxen sodium, which is the generic Aleve.
Yeah.
It's almost okay. I'm still slightly sore, still taking muscle relaxers every once in a while, but I don't know.
You okay? You think you're healing?
Hopefully this is the last of the horrible pain and I can enjoy the rest of the summer. I'm planning on going swimming. I think both Warren and I are planning on going swimming.
Yeah,
after the
I'm
show
actually going to
today.
go out swimming. I haven't been swimming in years.
When was the last time you went swimming?
I don't remember. I know it's been a while. I haven't been out to a lake or in a pool, I don't think, in a long time.
This will be exciting. Get a little sun on that body of
Oh,
yours.
God. I'm going to burn. That's what's going to happen.
You do like I'm looking right now. You seem Oh, Warren just exposed his belly.
It's pasty white.
It is fish belly white right now.
It has not seen the sun in a long time, so I'm sure I'll turn pink and it'll be horrible tonight, but I got to get it out of the way.
It'll be worth it.
I want to do outside things this summer, try to get swimming, try to get a little bit more engaged with nature, a little,
Well, that's one of the benefits of living in a place where it rains 9 months of the year is when the sun is out, you feel compelled to take advantage of it and make the most of it.
And it's beautiful. I mean, it's still green and lovely, and, even though it's sunny.
And it's not that hot.
No, it never gets hot.
So Warren and I will be frolicking in the sand and waves after the show today. We'll report back next week and tell you how that went. So, it was 4th of July on Wednesday. Did you do anything fun or exciting for the 4th?
I did not. I just went for a walk.
Yeah.
And then I hung out with my girlfriend, and we had some steaks in the backyard. Just two of us, and we watched Law and Order.
Wow.
Yeah. It was the quietest 4th of July
That's how you
I've had in
celebrated
years.
our nation's birth, huh?
I don't know. It was fine. I enjoyed it.
I tried to get you to go. There's this great barbecue that takes place just a couple blocks from my house and in a converted church. And basically there's just hundreds of people and fireworks and barbecues and DJ booth and drunkenness. They even had a little wading pool where drunken girls were jumping in fully clothed and
Oh, wow.
splashing around
Oh,
everywhere.
I considered going to this. Yeah. I mean, it was one of the options, but I didn't feel the momentum to...
Even IT guy John went.
Yes, he did go. I think he had a good time.
He was quite excited.
He told me we were out Friday night. We
Yeah.
were talking about it, and he said he had a lovely time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. Definitely worth going. They even had sponsorship. They had a raffle where they're giving away prizes. The grand prize was a gift pack from this weird adult store filled with dildos and creams and lotions and
If you had won that, what would
lubrications.
you do with it?
I don't know what a guy is going to do with a dildo. I'll say that right now.
I feel like if If I had a bunch of dildos or something I want them to gift back, I'd just start like hiding them in people's like apartments and houses.
Well, that is good. There was a house I lived in briefly when I lived in LA, and for some reason there were dildos around.
Yeah.
And that was the constant thing, was to put dildos. You know, you open your underwear drawer and there's a dildo, or you put it in the freezer or the fridge and there's a dildo.
Yeah.
So that's good fun. But I live alone, so it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, Brad, you got me again.
If you put it in a strange enough place that you don't go to often enough, you'll forget and then eventually surprise yourself.
Perhaps. But also, if you do have dildos and you're like, okay, maybe I'll put these away for later. Maybe I can use these on somebody at some point. Where do you bring that up? At what point in the relationship, when you're making out with the girl and you're like, hold on, and you open your drawer and you take out a dildo? I mean, what's the reaction? What's the best possible reaction you're going to receive from this?
I do. Is it a common thing for?
I don't think
male-female relationships for there to be a dildo involved?
I don't know. I think maybe it's possible to bring a dildo into the sexual play, but I think it's usually the girl who would introduce the dildo, probably because your penis is tiny, and she's like, hey, let's play with this.
Maybe. I would see the girl would want to bring it in, right? Because you would be using it on the girl. The girl would be she'd be using it on herself, right? So it would be her place to bring that in. Yeah. Unless you're really into using a dildo on somebody else, which is a weird thing.
Maybe you're just kind of tired. You're like, here, play with this for a while. I don't know.
I don't know. That doesn't sound like a good relationship.
I did find a butt plug in my parking lot once.
Oh, God.
And I took it. It was still in its packaging. I was like, oh, what's this? Because it was a weird shape. It wasn't shaped like a dildo. It was kind of like funnel shaped.
Yeah.
So I guess it's to like pop in there and then it won't come out or something. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I brought it in and I had it for a while. And I was like, I don't know, I might do something with this at some point.
Oh, Jesus.
But I never had an opportunity to use it.
I know, too, with the butt plug, it has like an end on it, so you can't go too far and hurt yourself.
You don't want to lose the butt plug up your rectum.
Yeah. So it'll like stop it. It'll only go in a certain... I know that's the defining characteristic of the butt plug, I think. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get involved with a butt plug. I just don't see that happening anytime.
I mean, it's nice maybe just to be covered if a woman that you're dating is like, I'd like to have a butt plug shoved up my ass right now. You'd be like, well, I happen to have a butt plug.
If that happens, I feel like you guys could probably go to the store and get one. I mean, there are lots of things that are going to happen over the course of your life that may come up. You may need a grappling hook.
That's possible.
That doesn't mean you want to keep it around your apartment forever. Just
I hope I need a grappling hook.
Well, exactly. But just on the, like, who knows, this might come up at some point. I might need one of these. Because you're going to need a lot of things.
There's only been... I've had one experience where somebody was trying to, like, introduce handcuffs into the whole proceedings.
Oh, jeez.
And I don't know. I guess there are men who enjoy having...
Submissive situation?
Yeah, and then also maybe the woman would use a dildo on them. I don't know.
This is we really like to speculate about people's sexuality in the show with very little information. But it's, as long as you're involved with a woman, I think it's a straight thing.
Right.
If it's a man doing something, then it's a homosexual thing, I would think.
I don't know. I just can't imagine, I want you to fuck me in the ass.
I don't know. No, me neither. But I mean, I don't... The idea of being, like... handcuffed to a radiator or something and then like whipped as if I'm a bad horse.
I'm not a fan of that.
None of that makes any sense to me, but I understand that that's something that people are into, obviously.
To me, that's just, ow, that hurt. Stop doing that, please. That's not pleasurable.
But that's their thing, right?
I guess.
That's when you get in the situation with like Cosmo, where they're telling you all these things you have to do to please your man.
Yeah.
That most men have no interest in.
They want a dildo up their ass and their lips spit.
Exactly. They want all these things. They want all these things to happen, and this will make your man happy. Well, the man's just like, no, I don't.
Usually, just the fact that you let him have sex with you is
that's probably fine. Yeah. And even like dolling yourself up in a certain way, it's not that important.
The whole idea of like how to give a good blowjob. Just giving a blowjob means that it's probably a good blowjob.
Yeah. Exactly. It depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Right. You know. I don't know if that's the way to like a man's heart necessarily. If the woman's like, he seems a little ambivalent about me, but she like reads a lot of Cosmo and works on her technique and suddenly he's in love or something or is really satisfied with her. It's like, I don't see that happening.
We can't agree on anything and we fight all the time, but man, can she give head.
Exactly. That never solves any problems.
Yeah. Usually sex is good if the relationship is good, and if it's not good, then, well, that's not always true.
It's a complicated thing. Yeah. Well, I think relationships that are very bad can have good sex in them.
That's true. They hate sex.
There you go. Snicker.
So there you go. This has been Sexual Health Watch on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Again, people, if you have any questions about your sexual health or like what you're into and you want us to tell you if you're normal or if the things you do are okay.
We are very good at telling people whether or not they're freaks or if they are normal. And again, we would still like your questions if you need any advice, sexual advice, relationship advice, financial advice, maybe religious advice. We would be pleased to help you. Write to podcast@warrenandbradley.com. All right, let's get right into Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
All right, let's start off with the small fry first. Get these assholes out of the way. Justin Bieber, cited for speeding, claims a chase was involved. Authorities say heartthrob singer, heartthrob,
Yeah, he's a heartthrob.
for like 13-year-olds, has been ticketed for speeding on a Los Angeles freeway after being chased by at least one other vehicle. Apparently, Bieber was cited for driving in excess of 65 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour the speed limit?
Well, it depends. What part of
Well, it was on the freeway. It was on
Well,
the
some parts of the
101.
freeway are 55.
Yeah, I guess in L.A., right through downtown L.A., it's 60. But even so. Apparently...
Doesn't say how far over.
Yeah, it doesn't say. Apparently, there was an eyewitness, a Los Angeles City Councilman Dennis Zine, who called authorities after seeing Bieber's distinctive chrome Fisker Karma being chased by 5 or 6 other cars. He has a Fisker Karma?
I have no, for what?
It's a
Fisker
crazy
what?
boutique supercar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, good for him.
Zine, a former LAPD officer, says the chase exceeded 100 miles per hour. Oh.
See, there we go.
So we're getting right back into this whole paparazzi, going insane, chasing people, basically being the impetus for dangerous situations.
There are times when you have to drive over 100 miles per hour to get away from somebody. Maybe they're trying to kill you.
Yeah.
You have a bomb in your car. You can't go under 90 or something.
Right.
If a bunch of limp-wristed photographers are behind you in a Jeep, that is not a reason to speed.
Justin,
Yeah.
hey.
You are not in any danger at that point.
No.
You know?
You're supposed to have a publicist there to make sure that you look good and that people can take your picture when your picture should be taken.
Oh, it's not a reason to endanger everyone else on the freeway's life. Shame on you, Bieber.
The other big story this week, Andy Griffith dies at age 86 of a heart attack. This is surprising. You thought he was already dead.
If you would have asked me dead or alive on Andy Griffith, I would have gone dead. I thought I remember him dying 10 years ago. But
Anytime a really old actor dies, I've always assumed that they were dead years previously because they're usually not working much anymore. You don't really hear anything about them.
it's weird when occasionally they'll pop up and you'll be like, really? Mm-hmm. That guy was still alive?
I'm surprised he was only 86 because he looked like he was about 60 when he was doing the Andy Griffith Show,
Yeah.
which was in the 50s. 60s?
I would assume
don't
he'd be
know.
in his 90s or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By all accounts, a nice guy. There's a lot of eulogizing on Twitter.
Oh, I bet.
From different stars. Ron Howard, of course. His pursuit of excellence and the joy he took in creating served generations and shaped my life, says Ron Howard. I'm forever grateful. R.I.P. Andy. Henry Winkler. I don't know who decides who's going to be the voice for the condolences for the celebrity.
Was Henry Winkler on that show?
No. But he was Howard's Happy Day co-star.
Oh.
But anyway, rest in peace, Andy Griffith. I think I saw the Andy Griffith Show a couple times in my life.
I remember it being on when I was a kid. I don't think I watched it.
I remember turning the channel if I saw it.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where you're like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. All right. The big story this week is still the fallout from the Tom Cruise-Katie Holmes split. More details have been surfacing. Apparently, Tom Cruise is in major crisis mode. This is coming from insider sources. I like all these Us Magazine things that we get. It's always a source tells Us Magazine.
Yeah.
I don't really know. How
What are
does that...
are they hairdressers or
I don't know. But apparently, he's been on the phone with his lawyers 24/7. He's in major crisis mode. He's afraid. Basically, what I'm reading into all this is that obviously the Church of Scientology is intimately involved in Tom Cruise's life, every aspect of his life. And I think what the worry is that things about Scientology are going to be brought out into the spotlight. Scientology is a creepy cult, as everyone knows, and they seem to be very worried about secrecy. And if anyone ever comes out, like a former member or any sort of expose on Scientology, the lawyers come a-calling. There are defamation lawsuits, basically just insane mass intimidation to try to get people to shut up. Methinks they might have something to hide. So apparently there was a contention about how to raise Suri. Tom wanted to raise her in the church. Some of the things that some of our listeners might find odd. As an infant, little Suri was fed a mixture of barley water, milk, and corn syrup instead of formula or breast milk, as prescribed by founder L. Ron Hubbard.
We've made our feelings about that clear in the past. We're all for breast milk for babies.
Yes. As far as I know, L. Ron Hubbard was not a pediatrician or a specialist on child nutrition. He was a washed-up science fiction author who no one really liked. Also, things have been coming out about the current Scientology leader, who is also a very good friend of Tom Cruise. I have no idea how to pronounce his last name. It's David
Miscavige.
Miscavige. There's also been weird rumors about his wife, who apparently has not been seen in public since 2007. A lot of people are thinking that the church just disappeared her or holding her hostage or something.
That's interesting, because you'd think that she would have family members who weren't involved in the cult, that somebody would report her missing at some point.
I guess the church released a statement saying that she's alive and well and working very closely with the Church of Scientology, but there are still no pictures of her. I don't know. The whole thing is so weird. One of his family members, one of David Miscavige, his niece, former Scientologist Jenna Miscavige Hill, told The Hollywood Reporter, "We got a lousy education from unqualified teachers, forced labor, long hours, forced confessions, being held in rooms, not to mention the mental anguish of trying to figure out all the conflicting information they force upon you as a young child. As a mother myself, I offer my support to Katie and wish for her all the strength she will need to do what is best for her and her daughter."
It sounds disturbingly familiar, doesn't it, Brad?
Yes. Harkening back to our childhood.
Harkening back to our own schooling, there's some similarities there.
So everyone says that the reason Katie Holmes is going such a strong-arm stance with trying to get sole custody is because she does not want Surrey to have anything to do with the church anymore. Nicole Kidman apparently was completely alienated from her children after she divorced Tom Cruise and left the Church of Scientology. Apparently, during the divorce proceedings, former Scientologist leader Marty Rathbun adds that members of the organization, including staffers who worked in the family's LA home, campaigned against Kidman in front of the kids. In fact, Rathbun claims he observed Tommy Davis, who heads the church Celebrity Center, feeding false information to young Bella and Connor Cruise. Tommy told them over and over again their mother was a sociopath, and after a while, they believed him. They had daily sessions with Tommy. I was there and I saw it. That sounds like a wonderful organization. I automatically believe every horrible thing that people say about the Church of Scientology, just because, as I said before, I think it's a horrible cult that's basically enslaves their members and their only aim is to make money.
Yes.
I can't understand why they have tax-exempt status as a religion. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, we recently got hacked, our account,
yes,
our website, and it took IT guy John all day on Thursday to try to rectify the situation. And
God bless him.
We had said some negative things about Scientology the previous week.
I never thought about this, but now you're bringing this up. Really, you think?
I don't know. I've heard there have been blogs basically like trying to do the truth about Scientology who have been hacked and sued and intimidated by Scientologists before.
They're going to come after us?
I don't know. If the Warren and Bradley show suddenly becomes dark after this episode is released, you'll know why.
I will tell them one thing. You come after us. If you listen to the show before, Scientologists, you know we don't have anything to lose.
Not really, no.
Yeah, so fuck with us at your own
We'll go to the mattresses.
discretion.
We don't care.
We don't care.
Bring it on.
This has been Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
All right, Warren, it's the moment that everyone has been waiting for. It's this week's Street Freak of the Week.
Woo.
They wander the streets, scavenging for loose change and discarded cigarette butts.
Spare $1
And give me a motherfucking cigarette.
I ran out of gas ways back. Got any meth?
You smoke weed, don't you?
Good.
I could use some change.
They may be mentally unstable and deserving of our charity, but that doesn't mean they can't be selected as the Warren and Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yesterday was another red letter Street Freak day. Literally within a 20-minute period, I had 3 major heavyweight contenders for Street Freak of the Week. I can't decide amongst them who is actually the Street Freak of the Week.
It's a murderer's row of Street Freaks.
The freak god smiled upon me and sent 3 likely candidates, so you're going to have to be the final arbiter of who the Street Freak of the Week is. Let me start right off with Street Freak number 1. Yesterday, I went to the bakery. I had a bialy with some cream cheese and a nice large coffee with room for cream. Was sitting outside the bakery, sipping at my coffee, and this cute little tow-headed girl from inside, she's probably like 4 or something.
Yeah.
I was sitting near the door at an outside table, and all of a sudden this little girl's curly-headed head, curly-headed head.
Yeah.
Peeked around
Yeah.
the doorway and went, boo. And I
Oh.
went, boo. And she went, oh, and, shoved her head back inside
Yeah.
the doorway. And a few minutes later, she peeked out again and went, boo. And I went, oh, and like covered my face and then said boo to her again. She, ha, 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 ha. In between one of the boos, a stumbling, shirtless, homeless man approached me. He had lots of bacne
Oh.
and a very interesting haircut where it looked like somebody had taken a pair of clippers and just sort of like skipped it over the top of his head.
Oh.
So there were patches that were shaved and patches that were just like tufts of hair sticking out. He was not in good nick as he approached, and he had a 2-liter container of Orange Crush.
Oh, yum.
And he was sipping on that and just drooling it all down his chin. He came up to my table and said, "You want some?" Offering the Orange Crush. I said, "No, thank you."
Yeah.
And then he just proceeded to plop himself down at the other seat at my table. Kind of did the,
Well, now that we're friends.
yeah, looked over at me like, yep, here we go. He's like, so you're just sitting down, huh?
Yep.
All right, then. Started talking about his ex-wife, how she's suing him, which I don't really see suing.
No, there's a lot of the street freaks that like have a lot of problems with the legal system that I don't
Yeah.
think really exist.
I don't think people are coming after him and his assets.
Trying to get his crush
really.
or anything.
But he apparently is very angry with his ex-wife. He was telling me the things he might do to her if
Oh.
the suit were to go through, involving bodily harm.
Really?
Nasty things, yeah. In a very matter-of-fact way, and just kind of, and as if I were his friend and was going to commiserate with him
you're
in
like-
all this. But the capper for this particular experience was the little girl who apparently hadn't noticed the street freak sit down, decided now was a good time to poke her head out and say boo again. So she did. She went, boo. And he turned around and went, boo. And she went, ah! And immediately started crying and ran back into the store. So I decided that that was no longer a good place for me to sit and enjoy my coffee.
I'd move on.
So I moved on down the street, went to the corner where I often smoke because it's 25 feet away from any door or window of a public business.
Obey the law.
As I was sitting there puffing on my cigarette, a hippie-looking street freak, who could be just a dirty hippie, but it's hard to tell the difference sometimes. They could be homeless. They could just be dirty hippie, yuppie, trust fund kids.
Yeah.
This one was shuffling up, but he looked a little disturbed. He sidled up right next to me, gave me a very long, searching look, and then turned and looked down the sidewalk where a throng of people was approaching. And I wrote this down so I would remember. As soon as this
Okay,
happened,
good.
I put this in my notes. He said, and I quote,
I look at them as they approach me. Why don't they explode their spines and brains before they come near me? Before they injure me like this? Injure you!
and then
Whoa.
pointed at me as he said it. And he got right in my face, like literally about 6 inches from my face as
What's
he
trying
asked
to
me
wake
this
you
question.
up? You're just walking around like you're in a dream. You don't realize
Apparently,
the threat
yeah.
from their spines exploding.
I said, that's a good question. And he said, I know! Like screamed it into my face. I'm like, okay, we've got a situation on our hands here.
Yeah.
So I very calmly said, all right then, why don't you go walk over there? And I pointed to the other end of the corner we were on.
Yeah.
I want you to sit down and I want you to think about that question. And if you come up with an answer, you come find me and tell me what you've decided.
Yeah.
And he kind of, like nodded. And I think that was the only way to calm him down, because if I had tried to fight it, then
Yeah.
he would have had to, he would have to keep waking me up and keep
Yeah.
telling me that my whole, my existence was completely fucked. So basically I humored him. He shuffled away and sat down and occasionally would laugh. And then when people would walk by, he'd go, "Arr!" and like sort of bark, half yell at them.
Yeah.
And that was part of the process, I guess, of figuring out this question. The capper for the Street Freak extravaganza, as I was watching the dirty hippie man sitting on the corner, I don't know how to say this without being offensive.
Ooh. I think you're going to do a bad job. I just have a feeling.
It's probably a good instinct on your part. As listeners to the show know, that we have no problem with the gay community. We have gay friends. We have.
We do.
We're for gay marriage. We're champions of gay rights.
Yeah, we are.
But there are a certain segment of the gay population that I can only describe as dirty old queers. You know what I mean? Like the middle,
Like the old guy with a mustache who's
Exactly,
like- yeah.
50-something-year old guy. So this is who started approaching me.
Yeah.
50 to 55, 60-year-old guy wearing a very skimpy tank top, greasy mustache,
Yeah.
like rainbow sunglasses, and he started walking. He was walking from the opposite direction down the block. he saw me, and I could see a sort of leering quality to his glance as he approached me. Started walking way too close to me and approached very, very close. And I'm the kind of person who gets very uncomfortable when people intrude into my personal space. I'm not a huge fan of that. He got right up to me, put his lips to my ear, and said...
Oh, no.
I wrote this down, too, so I get the exact quote.
Want me to suck your dick, sweetie?
I said, no, thank you.
You're being very polite with everyone.
And then he went right in my face and went... and then walked away. So there you have it, a triumvirate of street freaks. Who's the winner?
I'm going number 2.
Number
They're
2?
all great. All of you were great, but number 2, you're the best. Your story about exploding spines and stuff is amazing.
That was a good money quote, actually.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, so congratulations, shell-shot, dirty, hippie, homeless man. You've been selected as the Street Freak of the Week.
Congratulations.
Our hats are off to you, Mr. Homeless Man, because you've been selected as the Warren Bradley Show Street Freak of the Week.
So as you know, Brad, the tallest building in Bellingham
is Bellingham Towers.
Bellingham Towers, which was built in 1929, I believe, literally right before the stock market crash and the Great Depression. And then they never built a building that was
What is
bigger.
it, like 14 stories? Or something
Yeah, it's like 14 stories. Then that was like the end of like tall buildings in this town. And then in the last couple years before the crash, actually, the next crash, there was a lot of talk about building like 17-story buildings in downtown Bellingham.
Which freaked people out.
People were just like, oh my God. And we were going to have like a skyline. It was very exciting. But I was thinking about, I don't like heights.
Yeah.
They terrify me, and I get vertigo if I go near the edge.
Really?
Yeah. Because I always think I'm going to fall over the side.
Well, that's usually the reason why people are afraid of heights. I just didn't know that you had a phobia.
Yeah, I get weirded out. Like on the Empire State Building, I like can't get close to like the guardrail. I kind of have to stand back a little bit, which is a much taller building.
What if you were to stand up right now and go stand by my window and look out of it?
The thing is about that, there's like a ledge, and there's a couple feet in between me and the actual drop.
Okay.
Which makes me feel better. But even like a deck that's like 3 stories up and I'm looking over the side makes me feel a little weird. Certain height or whatever. But I always think about when I'm in those situations, if I did fall, what could I do to save myself?
What kind of height are we talking here?
Well, let's talk about Bellingham Towers.
Okay.
Let's say you're at the Nimbus, the old club at Bellingham Towers, which is closed now.
Yeah.
There's no luxury restaurant in Bellingham on the top of Bellingham Towers, or there was for years, very exclusive. And you got in some sort of like bar fight with some guy, and he like had a knife, and he's like poking at you, and then you like trip back and you fall through the window over the side. You've got 14 stories. What's your move?
Well, it depends on how acrobatic you are, Warren.
I'm talking about you right now.
Oh, me right now.
You're going down.
Well, Bellingham Towers does have certain ledges and windowsills.
Yes.
The thing is, if you're going to fall, you're going to bounce first off the side of the building. You're not going to just do a clean drop, probably. Because the way, I mean, people don't know, but the way that Bellingham Towers is set up, it's not like it's an overhang and then you fall off. You're kind of just going to be sliding off the side of the building.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So what I would do is die, probably. Because 14 stories, you could try to position yourself so you land leg first to cushion your organs.
Well, that's the idea. Is that what you're going to do?
But it would just drive my femur up through my body cavity, probably.
14 stories. You really don't have a lot of time in 14 stories, do you?
No.
Because I was thinking the one thing you might want to do in those situations, when people do fall out of buildings, or a cat falls out of a building somewhere, and it hits like the mezzanine,
right,
and it sort of like falls through that, but it slows it down enough before they hit the pavement that they survive.
What you want to try to do is aim for another person.
Or aim for another person, or aim for a tree, right?
Right.
Or just something that's going to slow you down without completely stopping you before you hit the ground.
See, I don't know if you'd have enough, because, you know, you see people skydiving, they can shape their body into various, and they can kind of move and juke around. 14 stories is just enough time for you to freak out before you hit the pavement.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, okay, let's take it up to the Empire State Building then.
Empire State Building.
You'd have some time.
Well, what I would do is I'd take my pants off. I would split them up the middle, and I would fashion some sort of like wings where I could put my hands through each of the legs.
And you just swoop as you hit the ground, and you turn it like a flying
like
squirrel.
The Birdman.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I think there was some French guy that was doing that, wasn't he? I mean, not with his pants, but he was jumping off of buildings with like
technology
a little wing
that he
thing.
was like showing that you could do that. Yeah. But if you're falling, what are you going to do? You're going to think about what you're going to try to hit something, or are you just going to be like, and scream and then hit the ground?
Well, I'm wondering how long it takes to reach terminal velocity from the top of the Empire State Building, how long you have Is the force of wind so strong that you can't even maneuver? Like, could I even like move my arms about to extricate myself from my pants and very carefully rip them up the seam and then tie them around my wrists? And
I think you'd have time to do things, but I don't think you'd have enough time to get your pants off.
I don't know. Especially
yeah, you got tight pants.
I've got very tight pants. It takes me a good 5 minutes to get them off anyway.
Exactly. You're not going to do it.
As if I'm ever a little romantic with a lady.
If that ever were to occur, it would take you a long time to get
If that ever does occur, it's always kind of an awkward situation where you're like, I can get them off my thighs, okay, but then when I reach my calves, it's just like it's
because they're bunched up at that point, right?
Yeah.
There's so much
exactly.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to kind of pull from the bottom. Sometimes you have to get the woman. What you do is you sit on the edge of your bed with your legs outstretched, and you have the girl grab by the ankles and just jerk.
Oh,
and
really?
Pull.
Oh, jeez. That's awkward.
Which puts me in mind, there's one Halloween where usually I don't dress up for Halloween.
Yeah.
But for some reason I was inspired this one year that I was going to get something, because I obviously don't go trick-or-treating, but occasionally there's like parties and things like that. So I was like, costume. And I went to this army surplus store and I found a kind of the cliche Navy sailor uniform. You know, the navy blue wool pullover thing with a little flap on the back. It was a little small. I don't know what kind of midgets they had in the Navy, but I'm not the largest person in the world, but this thing, I was just like busting out of it. But I was able, it was made in such a way that I could pull it over my head and get it on. Yeah. But once it was on, I could not get it off of myself again.
Oh, that makes me claustrophobic. Just think about it.
And it's like heavy wool. You would get it up over your head and then you'd just be suffocating. But I had just started dating a girl at this point and had not done anything physical yet.
Yes.
But we hung out on Halloween, and she was dressed as like a sexy cat or something like that. I can't remember. But typical. Basically something that's very easy to get off. And we started fooling around. One thing led to another, and it was time to take the old shirt off. We were at her house, and I started trying to pull the shirt off. I got it to the point where my arms were over my head, and the shirt was over my head, but I could not get it any further. And basically, I had her pulling on the sleeves like as hard as she could. I was completely suffocating, sweating profusely, could not get the shirt off. She had to call one of her roommates into the room. They were both on each sleeve, jerking as hard as they could. Eventually, a pair of scissors had to be found.
Yeah, that's what you have to do eventually.
And I had to be cut out of the shirt.
So you didn't have a shirt when you...
No, when I left, I was shirtless in the middle of October. And it was fun. But apparently she was so amused by this that's what caused us to even have a relationship.
You can play that off as charming. Well, that's the kind of thing that would happen in a Judd Apatow, like, romantic comedy, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it would be endearing.
Yeah, I was kind of playing it up a little bit.
Yeah, you got to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get a lot of those shirts and just wear them at all times.
I think so.
I'm stuck in my shirt again, everybody. I'm
like, wow.
Oh, Brad.
Yeah, you don't want the reputation as the weird guy that is always stuck in his shirt. Hypothetical in the direction.
Is that it?
I guess. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, we've got 49 minutes. It's not all comedy gold, I don't think.
No, it's not.
Okay. Remember when we were in middle school?
Yeah.
And it was like, we're 10 years away from cloning dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, the whole Jurassic Park thing. And
the mosquito and the amber.
Yeah, they had the DNA and the amber. And they could even, like, grind the bones down and get the dinosaur DNA from that. And they had the Dolly the sheep. And then it seems like everyone's just like, meh, fuck cloning. Why haven't we progressed with the cloning anymore? Is this the thing with, like, playing God now? Or people are freaked out about it? Stem cells, all that shit? I want there to be a crazy scientist in Geneva somewhere cloning dinosaurs.
Apparently we lost interest.
I haven't lost interest.
I know, well, that's the thing, but it's just like, it's the same thing with the space exploration and why we aren't living on the moon right now. Because people just lost interest in it.
I'm so annoyed. Like, there are so many things that I was promised as a youth.
Yeah.
That have not come to pass by the year 2000. The year 2000, we were supposed to be in floating cars, blah, blah, blah. But the main thing I fixated on as a child was the dinosaurs roaming about.
Oh, yeah, that was a big deal, right? Because when you're a little kid, dinosaurs are, like, amazing, and you just are so interested in them.
So what do you think? If we have large predators roaming the Earth now...
Yes.
Which pretty much all of them are completely meh. Like, there's not really much that can happen to you. If you're maybe out stranded in the middle of the African savannah... you could be devoured by a
Yes.
lion. But in most cases, if you have a rifle or a buffalo gun or something, you're going to be safe. If dinosaurs were cloned, they had a nice varied array of species,
Yeah.
a whole like ecosystem of dinosaurs, and of course they break out of whatever research center they're in.
Okay,
Like
this
Jurassic
will
Park.
make a great movie. We'll do this. Yeah.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But they were able to get out into the wild,
Yeah.
breed, spread out throughout the entire Earth. Do you think our lives would really change that much?
No, because this is the thing. If there was like a Tyrannosaurus Rex or raptors, like in Jurassic Park, that were hunting people,
Yeah.
we would eliminate those ones so quickly. It'd be like that. The problems we'd have is we'd have some sort of dinosaur shellfish that would like get in our ponds, and you know what I mean? We'd have to get rid of it.
It would be like, what is that? Those evil mussels. That
Yeah,
are
exactly.
Infecting all the lakes. You have to wash your boat propellers before.
Oh, remember, yeah, the
So you have
mussels.
this little dinosaur on the. You have to scrape off the edge of your
Yeah,
boat.
like that dock floated over from Japan that just arrived on our coast recently.
Right.
And the governor's like, we don't have money to clean this up. And trying to get federal money to clean it up. But they're worried about like some sort of mussel jumping off of there or some like little crab jumping off of there and like
Right.
reproducing. Nothing that was actually going to like kill us or come and maim you.
Well, that's the thing. All the major players, all the ones with the claws and the teeth, were very aware of these things. And, we can pretty much kill anything if we have to.
Yes. We don't have a problem killing things.
No.
So if they did get out and they started reproducing, we'd just go hunt them down and kill them all.
Yeah. But do you think there'd be environmentalists and animal rights activists like, you have to save the raptors, you have to save the Tyrannosaur?
That's an interesting question because wouldn't they be opposed in the first place to bringing them back at all? Then once
once-
you bring them
once
back,
they're there-
once they're alive, then they'll try to preserve them.
But what trumps what? So to preserve our current ecosystem would probably trump the dinosaurs returning. Because we didn't kill the dinosaur. It's one thing if we bring back an animal that we killed.
Well, it sort of gets back to like what you consider worth preserving or what is nature,
Yeah.
right? Because like if those crabs had come over on like a log, like without any human
but see,
interference, then that's like nature,
it's
so it'd be
shit that was
fine.
blown here because of an earthquake and a tsunami. Couldn't there be just like other flotsam that washes up here?
Yeah.
So just the fact that it was on a man-made structure.
I think there was a lot of them because it was huge.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a problem.
I don't know. I like the idea of, you're at a Sunday barbecue, everybody's having their hot dogs, having a little game of badminton in the backyard.
Pterodactyl comes down and takes your hot dog.
Or Archaeopteryx
Or
comes and, like,
takes your child away.
and then suddenly just like, and everyone goes, oh, and scatters, and the little kid with the crippled leg is hobbling behind like, Daddy. But then he just gets swooped up by whatever large predator comes through.
It's one of the most horrifying scenarios you can come up with, but yet you long for it.
Well, it's something that was a part of our lives in the in the
We
future, in the
eliminated
past.
that, yeah.
But I think that primal thing, that fear that we used to experience, I think it needs to be replaced somehow.
We replace it with ultimate fighting and things like that.
we replace it with weird.
You dent people's cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
things like that. But it would be great if they had an actual Jurassic Park. I mean, I'd go. Would you try to go?
Yeah, I'd probably go if I was in the area.
For like a traveling Jurassic Park? But if there was like a Brontosaurus and they're like, we got one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be very excited to go see
yeah.
that thing. Yeah, I'd be like, look at that. Can you imagine? That'd be great. It is 2012, right? We should have something like this going on.
Well, why have the whole like playing God, cloning? Fuck it, it's cool. Why aren't we doing it? I want to clone people. I want to clone. I want giant ground sloths running around again. The dodo, I don't really give a shit about.
They're like the saber-tooth like kangaroo or something running around
Saber-tooth
Australia.
kangaroo?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, we had the cool saber-tooth tigers here that, like,
Yeah.
when I went to the La Brea tar pits, apparently they're the stupidest animal in the world because that's all that was stuck in the La
They
Brea
just kept
tar
falling
pits. It was
in
just like,
constantly.
oh.
Well, that's their problem, right? That's why they're not around anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it's those early humans came.
The early humans were smarter than the saber-tooth tigers, and the tigers were a threat to them, so they killed them.
Yeah, we always put the Native Americans on a pedestal as living perfectly in tune with nature, but they hunted the saber-tooth tiger to extinction.
They
And the
did.
Mammoths.
There were a lot of giant animals all over the place.
Yeah, what happened to the megafauna?
Oh, they were killed. Whenever people go there, they kill them all. You know about these, the moa? These giant, like,
Oh, yeah,
14-foot tall birds? Those were around in the 15th century.
They were around in the 17th or 18th century.
Well, I don't know
New
if a
Zealand.
person's ever seen one.
Yeah, the
But-
elephant birds are like 14 feet high.
Yeah, and then their only predator was these huge birds that would come in and kill them.
Yeah.
So it was a bird-based
We don't have
island.
any cool animals left.
Well, we killed them all.
Not even, but even in North America, by the time humans were here, maybe there were a few saber-tooth cats running around.
the isolation, I think, of Australia, like Galapagos Islands, you get a
Yeah.
lot of weird stuff. Australia has a ton of the megafauna, like a bunch of weird ones that you read the list, you're like, this is amazing.
Still? they
No,
don't.
back then.
No, yeah.
But I mean, and they died more recently too, so there's a lot more evidence of
Yeah.
them. But yeah, there's all sorts of great stuff as long as you just like leave a place alone. I guess we left a place alone for a couple million years and just saw what happened.
Yeah, maybe. I just like there used to be cave bears. I mean, there were lions running around Europe.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of stuff.
It's annoying.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure the people back then weren't thinking, wow, this is really interesting, as they're trying to defend their family from a bear with a stick. They're probably thinking, man, I wish I had a hot tub.
Yeah, keep
you
you
know?
on your toes. I think we need to reinstitute some sort of predator. Obviously, if we just kind of deputize humans with some machetes to run around and hack people up, that's not going to work out very well. It has to
You
be.
can move to Somalia if you want to.
No.
There are
I'm
death
saying,
squads. There's
I'm
all
saying
sorts
I
of
don't
stuff.
want that.
Okay.
Because it can't be human based. It has to be like a force of nature that it's just capricious. You can't predict it. Suddenly you're out on your back porch and you're gone. You're dead.
You understand how insane this is.
No.
Okay. But you just want to die, people to die randomly?
Well, I don't want.
It's more
I don't want to
exciting?
die, but I want the
Other people to die.
I want the opportunity or the chance of dying.
You can
And then every
die
day
of a
you cheat to
congenital
death.
heart defect at any moment.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an outside force, something that you actually have to struggle against.
So you want something that you, like an animal that you
Some
have to
weird
wrestle with.
creature is going to wander into your yard and go, and you go, oh, and you either have to wrestle it or you have to run away or you have to beat it with some sort of stave, and then it goes, and crawls away to your neighbor's yard, and then you could be like, all right, I won. I got the heart pumping a little bit, got a little adrenaline going.
Yeah.
And then people wouldn't be beating each other or doing ultimate fighting or, starting
They'd all be
wars for no
fighting
reason.
these animals all the time, these
Yeah.
dinosaurs
I think
that are attacking
peace
us.
peace would just cover the earth like a warm blanket.
This reminds me of your nostalgia for the time of people running around with swords.
Yes.
And how you wish that we'd all just had swords and we were sword fighting.
Let me reiterate my point with that whole
Okay.
thing. In the olden days when there were repercussions for being a dick, people weren't dicks as often. Like, for instance, the guy hitting me with his fucking car, if I were to go, ha, and pull a sword out and run him through, he probably would have apologized afterwards. But now he can just say, fuck you, and drive off. I mean, there were some repercussions because I dented his door.
Yeah.
But his car was a piece of shit anyway, so I doubt he really cared that much.
But the main thing is that neither of you died.
No.
Which is, I would say, an improvement from the time of people stabbing each other for being slightly insulted.
But didn't he deserve to die, Warren?
I don't know. Who's for me to say, really?
I don't know. I just think people would be a lot more polite.
Our incredibly safe life with airbags and no
boring.
dinosaurs to attack us make it a little monotonous at some point. But as soon as that danger is reintroduced, all you're doing is longing for the past, and you didn't have to worry about that
But
danger.
do you realize how alive you would feel all the time? You would cherish every moment you had.
There are places you can go and experience a lot of danger.
Well, maybe I'll go there.
I know we've talked about this in the past. Didn't we talked about how you would go off and have adventures if you were very rich?
Oh, yeah.
And then you come back to your house and like relax. And I kept telling you, you can go have adventures right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my whole point was that I would have a fallback,
But in those situations, when you're about to die, you're about to die. You
Yeah.
don't have a fallback, really.
Yeah, but then, see, it's one thing to be a mercenary, to join a mercenary band in Somalia when you're rich. Because you don't have to join the mercenary band in Somalia. You're just doing it for the hell of it.
Well, you'd be doing it for the hell of it right now.
Yeah, but I'd be more emotionally invested in the mercenary
That's
band.
the excitement. You want the visceral, excitement.
I'm sort of contradicting myself.
Yeah,
to a
you're
certain extent. Yeah.
very much contradicting yourself. Because if you want that real visceral feeling of like trying to save your own life and struggling, become a warlord in Somalia.
Okay.
Weird old white warlord guy, and start stealing like UN food shipments and like giving them to the people you favor, and do it, and that would be a lot of excitement for you. I'm sure you'd have to like protect yourself, save yourself from other warlords who are trying to kill you constantly.
General Victor.
Or you could become a drug dealer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be evil.
I don't know what to tell you then.
Let's go swimming.
Okay.
This has been the Warren and Bradley Show, brought to you by Warren Van and Bradley Victor. For podcast news and information, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Warren and Bradley. Follow the show on Twitter at Warren and Brad. Subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. For episode archives and episode pictures, go to warrenandbradley.com, and to contact the show, write to podcast@warrenandbradley.com.
And would not scream out in agony. And I have no idea how loudly I was screaming either. I would just startle and jerk awake and go, oh, and then try to go to sleep again. So I did not have a very restful night. On Tuesday, because it was raining so hard and because of my back pain, I did not go to work. But I decided to go downtown in spite of my pain to run some errands. I was in a very bad mood because of the back pain. You know, you can't
Lack
get
of sleep
comfortable.
too, right?
Lack of sleep,
Yeah.
frazzled nerves. And as I approached a crosswalk, waiting for the light to go to the little stick figure man showing that I can walk, as we discussed earlier, a man was waiting to turn left on his green light, and instead of waiting for me to go across the crosswalk, he just blew through. Just like he actually peeled out of the intersection. I had impaired mobility and was not able to get out of the way with the alarcity that I normally would be able to. And so he clipped me with his side mirror as he went by, right in the hip. And it hurt rather badly.
Yeah, I bet.
I was very angry about this. And as he, instead of apologizing as he went by, he went, "Watch where you're fucking going!" I had the right of way.
Yeah.
I was in a crosswalk. It said walk. So I hobbled after him to the next block. He stopped at a red light. I was just hobbling down the middle of the street.
Yeah, this is a good scene.
Got up to his driver's side window and pounded upon the glass. He looked.
Because on July 4th was actually nice.
Usually it rains on July 4th.
Our June has been nothing but a monsoon. It's
And
like
not just, and normally in Bellingham when it rains, it's just kind of this little mist and drizzle, but we've had really
usually
heavy, crazy rain.
Our June is just like, it's just overcast basically. So there's no sun, but it's not like raining. But it's been just pouring. The streets have been like flowing with water everywhere. People have been very
it's been
annoyed.
like in the 50s and 60s. And it's funny because every year people start bitching. Come June, when it hasn't stopped raining yet, everyone's like, God, this is the worst spring ever. And oh my God. And everyone seems to forget that it's always like that. And then the summer is always amazing. And by the time it gets to be 80 degrees in August, people start freaking out about how hot it is.
and they can't believe it. And it's amazing. And then we go in through September. It's usually pretty nice.
Yeah, I was swimming. I think the last time I went swimming last year was like September 20 something.
It's sort of the summer. The actual summer is summer here, and the rest of it's just overcast.
So any of you planning to move to the Bellingham area, that's kind of our climate. 9 months of rain and 3 months of beautiful weather.
I know if I was an affluent man and could afford multiple homes, I would definitely live here in this area 3 months a year. But there's no way you get me back for the other 9 months.
I'm fine with it. I like it. It's fine. I like the summer in the summer. That's good. But you know, I like nice overcast, a little drizzle every once in a while. It's nice. It makes everyone look nicer. It's kind of the difference if you ever work in an office with fluorescent lighting.
Yeah.
And everyone looks horrible.
Yeah.
And it's bright and your eyes start hurting. It's kind of like.
The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
And I'm the other host, Warren.
It is episode 33, coming at you from a sweltering hot Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, it's a tropical paradise.
It's amazing. It's what's like 77 degrees today. Some of you from other parts of the country or the world might not think that's that amazing, but for here, it's a heat wave. It's ridiculous.
We have the annual tradition here in this area where it usually rains all the way through the 4th of July, and then the 5th of July, it's sunny, and it's mostly sunny for 3 months.
Yes.
And then it becomes overcast for the next 9 months until the 5th of July the next year.
Our summers are actually quite nice, usually.
The summers are, once you get past the 4th of July, it's great. This year it actually came exactly a day early.
Exactly, yeah. That when it's sunny all the time, it pisses me off, but when it's overcast, yeah, it's great.
I have to disagree. I find it depressing, and I think our suicide rates will attest to that.
We've got an excellent show. I'm going to have to complain a little bit.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That doesn't surprise me.
We also have some crazy street freak action, just another smorgasbord of freak. Basically, within a 20-minute period, I believe yesterday, I was just assaulted by freaks. So we'll get to that later in the show. We've got some Celebrity Minute for you. Anyway, so you'll have to pardon me as I go into another one of my sad stories, because this week I was in a lot of pain.
Physical and emotional, or just physical?
Mostly physical, but the physical was causing emotional pain at the same time. So if you'll indulge me here, I'm going to play some sad music.
Okay.
Just a moment. So, some of you may or may not remember I was complaining of back pain previous weeks.
I remember.
Racked with horrible back pain. On Monday, it all came to a head. I'd tried to go to sleep on Monday night and was in such horrible pain that I couldn't get comfortable in bed. Mm-hmm. But I would drift off every once in a while and then suddenly be awoken by the sound of my own voice screaming in agony.
No.
Yes, I was
You'd
literally...
wake yourself up with your own voice screaming in agony?
I would wake myself up by yelling.
So you can yell when you're asleep?
Apparently. You've laughed in your sleep before, haven't you?
I don't know. Maybe. I was asleep, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. But it was kind of disturbing, because normally when conscious, I'm very stoic. And I was like motioning for him to roll down his window so I could scream at him.
Yeah.
He did not.
Yeah, well,
he just said, "Get the fuck away."
Yeah.
And then I was so angry, and even though I was in pain, I took my right knee and drove it into his driver's side door and stove it in.
Oh, good.
Dented the shit out of it. He went, "Ah!" and ran the red light and sped away from me.
So you took your pound of flesh from him, at least.
I took probably about $500 or $600 damage. He was driving a piece of shit anyway, though. He was a semi-homelessy looking guy, the kind of guy who would get free meals from the drop-in center down the block here.
Tweaker, maybe?
Maybe a tweaker, maybe a meth addict, maybe something to that effect. He probably had no insurance, probably didn't even have a valid driver's license.
You could have reported him.
Yeah, but I already took care of it with my street justice.
That's right. You prefer vigilante.
Always very fond of
justice.
So then, basically, throughout most of the week, I've been in pain. I've been taking muscle relaxers, was taking crazy amounts of ibuprofen for a while, and then decided I should probably stop doing that and switch to naproxen sodium, which is the generic Aleve.
Yeah.
It's almost okay. I'm still slightly sore, still taking muscle relaxers every once in a while, but I don't know.